Joe and I can talk while you eat your sandwiches.
Yeah, go on.
Well, I'm going to have a quieter podcast today anyway.
And why would that be?
I had some beverages last night.
Oh, right.
Just a couple.
So it's Glastonbury, isn't it? It's live from Glastonbury weekend.
I would hate to be there right now.
Would you?
Yeah, I hate it. I can't think of anything worse. I just don't understand going to a festival for like a week.
Okay, festivals in general.
Yeah, like not my scene at all.
My notes. Not on festivals.
Would you actually want to be there in like 33-degree heat right now?
Yeah.
Right now, Arlo, hungover as you are, would you like to be surrounded by 100,000 other people?
You know, it's just a big field, right? Would I like to lie down in a big field in a little quiet area? Yeah.
Was it worth it to see the Killers perform?
I mean, I've seen them live before. I was just drunk and excitable.
Gian was like throwing her arms over the place, so I gave her my 2 drumsticks, and she was just there like air drumming. But it was like the worst air drumming I've ever seen. So offbeat.
I didn't realise they were still going.
What, the Killers?
Yeah.
Well, apparently the guitarists were like stand-ins.
Wow.
Something which
The main singer, what's he called again?
Brendan Flowers.
He's
Brandon
very
Flowers.
extra, isn't he?
He's a Mormon.
Yeah, you were saying this last night.
Mormons are a bit extra.
A practicing Mormon.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Okay.
Aren't Mormons polygamous? Is that a thing?
Yeah.
Oh, you can have up to is it 3 wives? Yeah, you're married, man.
Yeah.
There's a peek behind the curtain. Let's start, shall we?
Yeah, it is warm in here though.
Very warm. Hello and welcome back to the warmest episode of Sync Slate 6.
Let's go with warmest, not sweatiest.
Most hungover.
Just to put this into perspective, to my right is a shirtless Joe.
Yeah, hey.
And to my left is a hungover, sweating, shirtless Arlo.
I'm not sweating too badly. that paints a really...
I could literally see a bead running down your forehead.
That's a cold sweat.
Somehow hot and have the chills at the same time.
Yeah.
Should even out, really. It doesn't.
No.
We're post Toy Story 4. We've just come out of the cinema. We're here to record and do a nice review of it. Or maybe not a nice review. We're going to do no spoilers, spoilers first.
Yeah, we'll do news first, though.
Yeah, but before that.
Okay.
News. Who's got news?
Why does everyone always look at me when we're doing the news? It's always me first.
Go on, Arlo.
No, can someone else kick off?
I can start.
All right, go on.
You were really prepared last week.
Yeah, exactly.
What's
is that why
happened?
you're just default coming to me first? Ah, sorry. Yeah.
I'll go. So I've got. I don't have much either, but I have the next Disney live action is going to be The Little Mermaid.
No. Really?
Yeah. I saw some casting news about for Ursula.
The next, so obviously after Lion King and Aladdin this year. When's that supposed to come out? Is there
Probably, I would guess next summer. I didn't read the article.
I don't know if I want that.
Really?
Why? Why are they doing this?
Money.
Yeah, that's basically the answer. And that's the end of the podcast.
Yeah,
wow, so who's the casting news?
don't know. Oh, well,
Will Smith as the lobster.
Will Smith as the Little Mermaid as well.
Yeah, all roles.
We saw he was in the trailer.
Yes.
What is that?
That is Will Smith becomes a pigeon, the movie.
Fuck. I completely forgot about that. That was the strangest trailer I've ever seen.
We should talk about the trailers actually before.
This all right.
Well, maybe
As
let's
part
just
of the
talk.
news, or
Yeah, maybe let's talk about it now as we're into it.
seems to make sense.
So we had this animated Will Smith is a secret agent and then turns into a pigeon.
Yeah. Do you know what it's called?
Yeah, Spies in Disguise.
Oh.
Spies in Disguise.
Yeah.
Well, it had a few other people in it as well,
I
didn't
like
it?
it in the
It's
cinema.
Tom Holland,
Yeah,
our
you,
favourite,
Oh,
our favourite actor.
Tommy
collectively.
boy.
You audibly booed in the cinema when his name came up.
He's the muse on this podcast.
And we got Lion King.
Lion King.
Yeah.
That does look pretty good. I think it's definitely. I think we said this last week. It's definitely the one that I would want to see out of all. If they have to do, if they are going down this route of okay, let's make as much money as we possibly can. Let's do all these live actions. Lion King, I'm very on board with that.
I don't see the point in it. I really like the Lion King, but it's just.
Isn't Lion King based on Shakespeare? The story is it
Loosely, yeah, on Hamlet.
Yeah.
The one thing that was a bit concerning for me when I watched the trailer was the fact that the animation looked amazing, but we didn't see, it was like all voiceovers, so we didn't actually see the mouths moving of the characters, which is going to be the hardest bit to pull off, isn't it? It's like they've done really well making them look real, but then also when they speak, making it not look like, like those commercials where they make babies speak.
Yeah.
And it just is really horrible.
The new Evian adverts? They're really creeping me out.
Yeah. But yeah, that's going to be the struggle. So I don't know whether they're admitting that from the trailer because they haven't quite nailed it.
Yeah, maybe, because that would be one of those internet backlashes, wouldn't it?
Like
Genie.
Yeah, like the Blue Genie.
Yeah.
Jungle Book was really good though.
I still didn't see that.
What was it called?
Mowgli?
Yeah, maybe it's called Mowgli.
No, there was two films.
There was two, yeah.
There was Mowgli, and then there was the Jungle Book.
Which is the one with Chill Murray?
That's the Jon Favreau one.
Yeah, that one was really good.
Yeah, the one that came out in cinemas, and then there was a Netflix.
I did not watch either of them, to be honest.
I mean, the point I was trying to make is the speaking in that looked.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it looked fine.
There is that danger though of like I'm doing with my hand a dog opening and closing its mouth, like just of a lion talking. Like, what can you do? Just like, because all their jaws do right is go up and down. They don't have lips.
Yeah, they don't have lips, do they?
Maybe everyone will like it more if the speech is really out of whack. Maybe it'd be like those karate movies from the 80s where they're still moving their mouth after they finish talking.
The best one they take the mick out of that in Kung Fu Hustle.
Oh, do they?
Have you ever seen that? He's like literally like his lips are moving for about 10 minutes and then it goes, yes. It's ridiculous. I quite like the casting in Lion King as well. Like they've got James Earl Jones back as Mufasa. They got Seth Rogen. I imagine he's Pumbaa.
Yeah, or Timon.
Nah, he wouldn't be Timon. He's got too deep a voice to be Timon, surely. And then Beyonce is Nala.
Okay.
I don't know who Simba is though.
No.
So we had one good trailer in Lion King, and then one god awful trailer in what was it called again?
Spies in Disguise.
we were literally watching it. It looked like the first half of the trailer was like him jumping around, like shooting stuff, and then it just cuts to him being transformed into a pigeon, and Arlo just goes, "What?"
And we also had is that Dora the Explorer?
Dora the Explorer, the live action, and that was creepy as hell.
Yeah. I didn't like
what they've enlarged her eyes.
Yeah, she had these weird anime style eyes.
They were massive. There's no way those are her actual eyes.
I think maybe she does like have big eyes,
but that was half her face.
Yeah, maybe they were digitally enhanced.
It looks terrible, though, doesn't it?
And
well, I mean, it's a kids' film.
It looked like it looked like Alita Battle Angel had just stepped into the Dora the Explorer film.
Yeah, and do you want to give your comment that you said to me in the cinema about Dora the Explorer? Did you hear what he said?
Really over-sexualized. She's meant to be a 14-year-old girl, and they've got her in this skimpy little shorts, and she's like, I don't know, it just seemed weird to me.
Yeah, and there was some weird high school stuff, and when she met her cousin, it was like, oh, my cousin. Did you pick up?
And he was like, ooh, you're really energetic.
Yeah.
All right, mate.
That's my opening line. You're really energetic.
Was there any other trailers? I feel like there was.
Yes, but that Dora the Explorer one, they pretty much showed the whole movie in that trailer. It was one of those.
It had that. I always forget his name. The
guy out of Ant-Man.
The funny guy out of Ant-Man.
Yeah, I can't remember his name either.
Pena?
Is that his name?
Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
It's got I think so. It's got the squiggle. Yeah, Pena.
Yeah.
The squiggle.
What's it called?
It's called an Enye. There you go.
Is it actually?
Yeah.
Michael Peña. And there was.
So he's just grabbing a paycheck there, isn't he?
Yeah.
That's basically.
He'll probably be in it for 5 minutes, I reckon, if that.
Well, he's the dad, isn't he? He's Dora's dad.
Maybe.
So I imagine what happens is that she gets sent away to go to a normal school, and then they get kidnapped or something.
Yeah.
Maybe
And
he's
then
trying to
she-
move on to more serious projects.
Yeah, this is his Oscar run now, is
Yeah.
it?
It kind of gave me vibes of, I know you guys like this movie, Spy Kids.
Yeah, it did.
We never said we liked Spy Kids.
I said I like Spy Kids.
You knew way too much about Spy Kids, but you got it wrong.
Got what wrong?
Toy.
Oh, he's the toy maker and not the toy master. Like, you know, really splitting hairs there.
Sorry.
Yeah.
You will be.
It did have that vibe, because when it came on, I heard you say Jumanji.
Yeah, I thought it was Jumanji.
They're
It was
not
like,
making a second one of those, are they?
Jumanji.
Are they?
Yeah.
No, but there's the one that Dwayne the Rock Johnson did.
Yeah.
Oh, they're doing a follow up.
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay.
Well, I
Didn't know
think
that.
so. I'm pretty sure they are.
Did you watch
was
it?
I've heard
No.
it's really good.
It was a commercial success though, wasn't it? So it would make sense.
Yeah, it's like anything these days that's a commercial success. Like Venom 2's been greenlit now, hasn't it? Even though pretty bad film in my
Yeah,
opinion.
I didn't like that.
But
even
if
watch
it makes money, it makes money.
That's Hollywood.
That's Hollywood,
That's
baby.
I think that was all the trailers, wasn't it?
No,
Was there one more?
was there another? No.
Oh, there was the Shaun the Sheep one.
Oh God.
There was some
I
funny
thought that
bits in
looked good. It's Aardman Studios, isn't it?
Yeah, there was some funny bits out of the trailer.
It's
And
the Wallace, same people who do Wallace.
yeah,
and
you
Gromit.
got to appreciate like what's it called? Stop
motion.
Yeah, stop capture
Claymation as well.
Claymation.
Yeah.
That must take absolute ages to do as well.
They could do it with a computer, too.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think so.
yeah.
All
Do
the
you reckon the process has sped up a lot since they did Wallace and Gromit?
definitely, yeah.
Because I've seen like a behind the scenes like making of that, and it was literally like move the arm a
Yeah,
centimeter, take
click,
a picture.
yeah. Well, that's the first episode of South Park was that, and then the studio were like, it took them months to do it. And they're like, well, obviously you can't do that.
Not
now,
viable.
Yeah, so now it's all computer done on computer.
South Park these days doesn't look as good as it used to though.
No, it was good when it was like bad animation or something. It just
Yeah.
made it funnier.
The way they would just like walk, it would just be like back and forth.
It just bounced.
They've kept Ike's mouth the same though, or like Canadians in general. Just
Yeah.
have that open mouth. That
It's
just
such a
kind of
weird
bounces around.
stereotype thing that they've done. That, like,
Yeah, we can talk about that later too,
yeah.
because there's some great.
Oh my god, yeah.
That was
yeah.
really cool.
So that's all the trailers.
That was all the trailers. So back round to news.
Yeah. Have you heard about Paul Rudd?
Right here.
Go on then. Do you wanna?
No, you go.
So Paul Rudd has been confirmed to be part of the 2020 version of Ghostbusters. So they're going in a different direction because obviously what happened in the 2016 version,
Everyone got really annoyed.
everyone
because
got really
it was
annoyed.
women.
It was just a really it was a horrible thing to see on the internet, wasn't it? It was like back and forth between different groups of people, like some people like judging the film without even like giving it a chance, and it just got really horrible and seedy. And I think they want to kind of draw a line under that and go back to what people love, which is like the initial Ghostbusters, because this is actually being directed by Jason Reitman,
Who's the original director's son?
who's
right?
the Ivan Reitman's
Yeah.
son. So I think it's kind of like they described it as a love letter to the first film. So so Paul Rudd's been cast. Sony released that on Twitter the other day. They did like this skit where he was at the protagonist headquarters, and it just like he turns around and he's like, "Hey."
Bill Murray's going to be back in it, I think.
Oh, is he?
Dan Aykroyd, I think Sigourney Weaver too, and
Wow.
Ernie Hudson, who's Winston, but Harold Ramis is dead. So he
yeah,
will not be coming back.
it's got
How insensitively put. He's dead. He won't be coming back.
Well, the film is called Ghostbusters. It's got to get that. clear.
that would be more insensitive if it's
sorry.
Finn Wolfhardt's in it, who
From
is
Stranger Things.
Oh.
Mike, is it?
The curly haired one.
The main guy.
The one that,
Yeah.
spoiler, kisses 11.
I didn't know that. Thanks.
Are you going to watch it in the second series?
actually,
that happens?
There's
Yeah, I've not seen it.
a bit
all the way
more
through.
news that the third season trailers dropped recently.
You've done me.
Sorry, no. Let's stay on Paul Rudd. So, So obviously, casting Finn Wolfhard, it looks like they're going to go for. They've done men, they've done women, now they're doing children. Like, there's going to be a child's version of Ghostbusters.
Oh, is it?
Because the other casting news is a girl. a kid called McKenna Grace, who played basically the young version of Carol Danvers in Captain Marvel. Little blonde-haired kid. She's only in a few scenes.
I don't remember that bit.
No, it wasn't a huge part of the movie.
No.
But so those are the two child actors that they've cast so far.
This kind of annoys me because it's like, let's do the Ghostbusters. First they go, let's do the Ghostbusters with women.
Yeah.
Now they're like, let's do the Ghostbusters with children. It's like, why can't you just write a good story? Don't have some like gimmick with it to try and get people in. It's just like,
I don't know if there probably is part of that, but from what the director Jason Reitman said is that he literally had an idea for a story with a kid holding a proton pack or
when
whatever.
he was a child watching his dad's film.
Oh, is that what he said?
No, I don't know. I just made that up.
Yeah.
I was being facetious.
And so hopefully they haven't written a Ghostbusters film and then gone, let's make it kids, and they've actually come up with an idea.
Well, that's what I hope.
Yeah. You never know with these things. But
have you seen the 2016 one?
I haven't, no.
It's good. It's good. It's not.
Really? I heard it was pretty awful.
I don't think it's that bad.
Did it make you laugh at any point?
Yeah, a few times.
I've got a revolutionary idea. Stop making Ghostbusters films.
Well, yeah, I agree.
Because they're never ever going to beat the original.
Exactly.
I mean, I don't think the original's actually as good as people make out it is.
It's cult status though.
Yeah, it is.
It's not necessarily.
Man, I thought I was going to get jumped on then.
I almost did. I think the first one's really good. The second one's but the first one is, I think, amazing. Maybe it's just got a nice place in my.
That's it. It's nostalgia, isn't it? And that's what Hollywood seems to be doing at the moment. Have you seen the meme that's been going around about the outside the cinema? The notice of what's playing. It's like, what year are we in? Because it's like Men in Black, Toy Story, Child's Play, Lion King, Aladdin.
Just on a tangent, what's got the better theme tune? Spider-Man 2 with Chad Kroger or Ghostbusters?
Ghostbusters, definitely.
Are you sure your mate's not listening into this? It's like, he's just insulted my step-uncle.
Yeah.
The other casting news from that film is Carrie Coon, who you might recognise from Gone Girl, and she was also Proxima Midnight in Avengers.
Who's Proxima Midnight?
One of the children of Thanos, the one that's like needlessly animated when they could have just made her like real.
Oh, in the train station fight.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like the brother and sister. Yeah.
Are they brother and sister?
I imagine so. That's what I thought anyway. But yeah, so that's the Paul Rudd news. What do you think? Do you like Paul Rudd?
Yes.
Yeah.
He has the potential to be one of those actors who you see too much of, and then you're like, ugh, get him out of here.
Really?
Yeah, I do really like Paul Rudd.
What haven't you liked him in though?
I thought the second Anchorman was pretty weak.
Second Anchorman was.
But
weak,
I mean, I suppose he had to commit to that because they'd done the first one, and it was like 10 years after.
They shouldn't have bothered with that.
But I mean,
again, that's a good sign of just leave it alone. Anchorman 2, not needed. Ghostbusters.
I don't know if it's a case of him being lucky or he's just picked pretty good projects, but he hasn't been in that much that's like not well received.
He was good in Ant-Man.
He was good in Ant-Man. He was fantastic in what's it called? Due Date. Is it Due Date?
Oh, no, that's Robert Downey Jr. and Zach Galifianakis.
Not Due Date then.
I Love You Man.
Not I Love You Man.
I do like that film though.
That's good.
That is a great
film. He's amazing in that. Oh no, what's the one I'm thinking of? Where they end up going to Vegas and like they take loads of mushrooms and he's like, with Seth Rogen, Knocked Up.
Knocked Up.
Knocked Up.
Oh, right.
Why are there so many chairs in here?
Have you seen that? That's probably one of my favourite of like those type of films, like 40-Year-Old Virgin, Knocked Up, that crew.
Yeah, what are they called? They have a name, don't they?
Oh, do they?
Yes.
I don't know.
They also part of the same universe or something?
What? No. Everything's going to be part of a shared universe eventually.
They do have a name because it's basically that whole cast of Anchorman. They're like a comedy. They call it a troupe. With a U and an E.
Oh.
Whoa.
Trope? I don't know.
Nice.
That's right, troupe. I've got an interesting thing about Ghostbusters actually.
Go on.
The 2016 one, I once got paid money to watch the trailer from that in a mall. and I had to sign an NDA, and I got paid $50.
Oh, that NDA is not worth the paper it's printed on now. Way to go, Andrew.
Yeah, if you get sued now, mate, you better not bring the Slate 6 down with you.
No, because this was that film's out now, so I can talk about it. But it was pre the trailer coming out. They hadn't done any like the graphics in it.
Have you double checked you're allowed to talk about it?
Yeah.
Well,
what I want to know what you said as your feedback for that trailer. So this was like a market research thing.
Yeah. I said, I'm pretty sure I said it'll never be as funny as the first one because you can't recreate that magic.
Right.
Is what I think I wrote in the comments. But I just kind of gave it like the middle, where you usually have like very much so, neither agree, disagree. I gave it like the 4, between 3 and 4s, because
just sitting on a fence.
Yeah, like always, like I do in this show.
You were getting no hot takes from Andrew Slay on this podcast.
I do have a really good hot take, but I'm going to save it for when it comes up.
Oh God.
Maybe it can be Andrew Slay versus designated actor this week, rather than me just being villainised on our Instagram and Twitter for apparently, I don't know, savaging the careers of Rami Malek and who was the other one?
Tom Holland.
Well, no, I've actually not said anything directly mean about Tom Holland.
Jessica Chastain.
Yeah, I didn't say anything mean about her either.
Where was I?
Market research.
Oh yeah. Okay, so what happened with it? Because Chris Hemsworth's in that.
Yeah.
And it was like, there was a question like, do you like Chris Hemsworth or something like that? And I think I wrote, I was like, yeah, fine, whatever. And then like, they really...
That's really good feedback. Okay, fine, whatever.
But
Give me my money.
They kept asking in the survey questions about Chris Hemsworth, like, because I picked...
Do you think he wrote the survey? On a scale of 1 to 10, how attractive would you say Chris Hemsworth is?
Honestly, stuff like that kept coming up because I clicked, like number 4, very much so or whatever. Do you think of Chris Hemsworth? Like questions about him kept coming up, and I was in Australia too.
If a building was on fire, would you save A, your mother, or B, Chris Hemsworth?
Anyway, that's that.
Yeah.
Ghostbusters.
We're so good at transitioning between the points, aren't we? So, and that's the end of that chapter.
Well, it would have been a good transition with the Stranger Things news.
Should we start again?
He did a really good segue last week on the biopic point.
Oh yeah, he did. He did do that actually.
Let's give the man the credit he's due.
Thank you.
Yeah, transitions are hard.
It is hard, and also you don't want to go off.
Yeah, and talking about them whilst recording is...
I'll edit this out.
Okay.
Oh yeah, Stranger Things 3. I've got written down that it's released on July 4th.
Yeah.
Or 4th of July.
Yeah, didn't they release the previous ones on Halloween?
Yeah.
Am I imagining that? Or
No, you're right.
That sounds right.
So they're sticking with holidays then.
Yeah.
But the thing with it as well, so if it's released on July 4th, most people would have seen all of it by July 10th, I reckon. Like, what do you think about that whole Netflix dropping an entire season in one day? Like,
it's a good idea from their standpoint because you kind of it's customer satisfaction in a way.
Yeah,
you don't have to wait for things to come out. You just get to watch them all as they come out. Like,
yeah, it's a lot easier to get invested in a show as well if you can, especially if it's a new show. If you can only watch the first episode, because it's got so much introductions to do, then it can be quite like, meh, it's all right. But if you can watch 3 episodes at the start and you start to get invested in the characters, then yeah, it's definitely.
I wonder if there's anything from their business standpoint that kind of looks at how long someone spends on the platform as well.
Definitely.
Because if you're releasing an entire TV show in one sitting, people are going to sit in front of it for 6-7 hours, aren't they?
Yeah, Netflix are notoriously guarded about their analytics. They even if you're the one giving them the content, they won't tell you how your content is doing on their platform.
Really?
Yeah, because I remember Joe Rogan was talking about that when he does like his stand-up specials, and he for Netflix, they won't tell you how well it's done.
Weird. Why these secrets?
There's no ratings on there either. It's match rate, isn't it?
Yeah,
which is a really vague.
Because they got rid of you used to be able to do user ratings and reviews, didn't you? You could see what people wrote about the film. They got rid of that.
Yeah, they just completely got rid of it.
Well, I think a lot of it is because we are literally in the age of the streaming wars right now with Amazon, Hulu, Netflix, obviously. Disney's coming out. So, I mean, people are... I imagine companies are kind of keeping their cards quite close to their chest.
Do you think Netflix will be like the blockbuster of the 21st century?
It's... Well, I think they're about to lose The Office as well.
What, the American Office?
Yeah.
Is that still going?
No, it's not still going.
Like Friends would be went over to Comedy Central.
Yeah,
that kind of thing.
Because I think CBS is who makes The Office, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
But I think they've got their own streaming service now, and so they're taking... they're definitely taking The Office off. I think they might be taking Parks and Rec off as well, but don't quote me on that because that might be a different...
They're by the same people, aren't they?
Yeah, that's what I think. Yeah. Well, I mean, all of the Netflix superhero films got canned as well because, it's rumoured, but because Disney are starting up their own streaming platform, they're going to hopefully reboot these, like the Daredevils, the Jessica Jones.
Didn't they just release Jessica Jones Series 3?
I don't think so.
I think they all got cancelled, didn't they?
I thought they'd already filmed Jessica Jones 3.
They cancelled Luke Cage and they cancelled Iron Fist.
Iron Fist was bad though, wasn't it?
I didn't mind it.
I really liked Luke Cage. It got kind of silly towards the end, but the first 6 to 7 episodes were great.
They had wicked music in Luke Cage.
I think Daredevil Series 1 was just so amazing. Like so ahead of it. Like, and then
I don't know the actor who plays Fisk, but he's really good.
Oh, Vincent D'Onofrio.
Oh wow, good knowledge.
Thank you.
Wow, that was amazing.
Someone's on it today.
And obviously John Bernthal as Punisher in that.
Oh yeah, I forgot he was in that as well. Well, did the Punisher ever do a whole series?
It's got 2 standalone series.
Has it?
Yeah.
I kind of I got really into them and then very quickly lost interest with all of those. It's like the CW superhero ones, like Arrow and Flash as well.
Never bothered.
I hate
really. They're really, really corny.
Flash is so corny, yeah. It's so cheesy.
Yeah, it's like...
Is it worse than
every
Smallville?
single...
Almost.
Smallville's great.
Oh.
It's a lot worse than Smallville. It's like every single episode has the same arc, and it just... That's
Smallville too.
Yeah, but Smallville, you can kind of get away with it because Smallville was filmed 20 years ago.
The Flash makes me laugh because the emotional quandary in every episode of The Flash is maybe I'm not the fastest superhero to have ever lived. I saw 1 or 2 episodes of it, and he's like, well, I might not be the fastest. That's the whole premise of the show.
It's not always am I not the fastest? It's I'm not fast enough to do this, and then by the end of the episode, he gets
fast enough.
a little bit faster.
Yeah,
and so basically the entire series is just him getting small amounts quicker. But yeah, I don't know how we got onto this, but anyway, Netflix, that's it.
You know how you could show him getting quicker, really, in a lot faster way. Montage. People like a montage.
I
Even
can't
Rocky
believe
had a montage.
Bringing that back. If any of you listened to last week's podcast, Andrew made a great observation that Rocky 4 and 5 are always on the TV. And that night after filming the podcast, we turned on the TV and on 5 Spike, Rocky 4.
Knew it.
Yeah.
I do have one last bit of news actually, which I don't have written down because it's a scoop technically, but I got it from
Is this your hot take?
Not a hot take. A scoop.
Oh, a scoop. Has that got you and an E as well? Scoop.
I got this from the Weekly Planet, which is a podcast about comic book movies mainly. There's going to be Matrix sequels.
Oh.
Yeah, and do you know who's apparently been cast or in talks with? Michael B. Jordan.
Ooh.
And it's going to be focused on a Morpheus backstory.
Ugh.
Yeah.
He does have a lot of star power, Michael B. Jordan. But again, this is a remake that no one asked for and no one wants.
Bring back Keanu. He's in the height of it now.
No,
Do something
he wouldn't want to go back. I reckon
you could do some interesting story stuff, can you?
I reckon you just wipe away 2 and 3.
The Matrix trilogy was getting really tired toward the end of it. The special effects were still amazing, but it was plot-wise, it was getting pretty.
Do you know what I found out the other day as well? 2 and 3 were released in the same year.
Yeah.
That
Was
seems
one in
mad
the summer,
now.
one was in the winter.
It was spring and autumn
That's it.
releases. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Imagine they did that with other trilogies, like Lord of the Rings. You get one, and then the next year you get like 2 and 3.
There's a really good video on YouTube where this guy goes over. He rewrites the Matrix sequels, and the job he's a screenwriter, I think, or
really?
screenplay editor, and the job he does is amazing. I'll link it in this. But
Yeah, 2 was bad, and then 3 was really bad. Like the whole architect bit in 3 was just terrible.
No, that's 2.
No, is it?
Yeah.
No,
guy with
we're
the white
in the-
suit,
Yeah, that's 3.
who could have been on Jurassic Park also.
I'm pretty sure that's 3.
It's 2. It's definitely 2.
Have you been watching them recently?
No, I watched this guy talking about editing the stories, and that it's at the end of 2. He does such a good job. I considered rewatching them, and then I was like, wait a second, there's much better things out there to waste
What are like
time
the
on.
ghosts? Is it like Cain and Abel or something like that?
Well, yeah, because that's apparently that comes. So there's all this. I'm just going to go into this real quick. There's all this like backstory stuff that they didn't include on the movie, but you had to like watch the tie-ins and read the comic books. But the Merovingi, the French dude that goes out with Monica Bellucci.
Yeah.
There's those like ghosts, and his henchmen are meant to be werewolves or vampires because he's from an early version of the Matrix that turned into like Transylvania or whatever.
That's okay. Just trying to wrap my diseased brain around that.
Yeah, there's all this stuff in it that, when it kind of, you think about it, you're like, oh, that's why that's like that. And then, yeah.
Is that ever specified?
No, unless you know about all the tines and stuff. But who bothers with that? I mean, some people do nowadays, but back in like, what was it, 2003, 4? No one.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah.
16 years. Is that how long it's been since Matrix came out?
No, Matrix 1 was earlier.
Was that 1999?
99.
I think so, yeah.
It was. I'm pretty sure it was anyway. I had
20
a.
years. Is that the time? Do you think that's the time period they leave if they're going to do a remake? Or 20 years has gone by, we'll probably get away with it now.
Yeah.
I think it's just because everyone's doing them, so it's like
Lion King's been 27 years.
Just come up with some bloody original ideas,
Yeah.
Hollywood. Like, it's getting ridiculous.
Yeah, but then you get stuff like, what was that film that came out recently?
Will Smith's Pigeon Detective.
No.
Can we please review that?
Was it Peter Jackson with the basically areas in the world became living vehicles or something like that?
What?
Yeah, did you never see this?
No.
I can't remember the name of it, but it was like an original idea, but it just apparently fell flat on its face.
Really?
Mortal Engines, that's what it's called.
That sounds trash.
Yeah.
The talking of prequels, I think there's a Hunger Games prequel potentially coming as well.
What's it going to be called? Peter.
Peter.
Peter. Have you know? She just screams Peter for 3 films.
I watched all 3 films on the plane from Korea to England.
My God.
Well, I was trying to get to sleep. But, I mean...
Did you be honest? Did you laugh at the bit? You know where she finds him at the end of the first one, and he's wounded, but he's kind of painted his face to match the surroundings, and no one can find him.
The whole thing about him being good at making cakes and then being able to disguise himself was just so stupid.
Yeah.
Seriously, is that what happens?
Yeah. He learns how to do battle camo
Because he's good at painting cakes.
He's like that Chinese artist that like paints himself and then blends into the surroundings.
But
and
yeah,
she finds him and he's just dying on the floor, but painted in like the surroundings. And she's like, "Oh my God, Peter!"
That sounds so stupid.
yeah. I watched it on the plane, so they're not allowed like lots of violence as well. So it kind of took out the only good element of Hunger Games.
Yeah, because it's definitely not Jennifer Lawrence.
Wow.
Yeah.
You going in
Well,
on Jennifer Lawrence? Right. Okay. We need to start making this
Hold me
list.
back. Hold me back.
I knew you couldn't help yourself.
She's bad in those films.
Is she good? Is she a good actress?
Yeah,
Or is she just
I'd say
nice?
so.
Is she just
Have you seen
relatable?
Silver Linings Playbook?
No.
No, I haven't.
She won an Oscar for that. She's very good.
Oh,
in that.
cool.
But I can name
With
a
Bradley
few things
Cooper.
that she's not been good in.
She's
as well.
in something with Christian Bale. Was it Hustle?
American Hustle.
American Hustle. She's really good in that.
And she's been in Joy as well, which I think got quite good critical acclaim.
Okay.
Yeah.
Surely I clearly don't know enough about Jennifer Lawrence to have an opinion then.
Take it back.
Yeah, sorry, Jennifer Lawrence, if you're listening.
You're always just bashing her for doing Passengers.
Passengers and well, she's not good in X-Men Dark Phoenix. I mean, yeah, that's pretty much it, though, isn't it?
I just forgot she was in it.
Yeah.
So, on to Toy Story.
Arlo, would you like to give us a synopsis without spoilers of the film, please?
I wasn't going to ask you to do it because you're fragile, but...
Every week.
But you're good at it. That, like, it's
Moneyball.
a compliment, mate. Yeah, Moneyball.
Yeah.
That.
You sold that to me.
Yeah. Have you watched it yet, by the way?
No, but I am going to.
Well, clearly didn't say it that well.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do a synopsis, am I?
Yeah.
Quick, yeah. You got a minute and a half. 90 seconds, 2 minutes.
Okay.
No spoilers. I think this is quite hard to do.
This is a really tough one.
Yeah.
So at the end of Toy Story 3, and Andy leaves all the toys, Woody and Buzz, with this new girl called Bonnie, who's, we believe, 4 or 5 years old in the film. And they get rehomed, and everything's happy, basically. Fast forward to them living with Bonnie, and there's been a big change in the kind of power dynamic as like which toys are the most played with and which ones are like most heralded. Woody isn't quite as prominent as he once was, and Bonnie's actually kind of taking off the sheriff's badge and putting it on Jessie instead, which I think was a really nice kind of female role models call out. And then the remainder of the film focuses on Woody's past relationship with Andy and whether he wants to be kind of what they call a lost toy and not be attached to like a child as an owner anymore, or whether he goes back to Bonnie and basically helps other like toys find like owners, which for some reason every toy in the film wants an owner and they want a child to like play with them rather than being on their own.
That's good.
Yeah.
Not my best work.
No, it's
My
alright.
brain's a bit scrambled.
The overarching theme is attachment, really, isn't it?
Yeah,
And,
definitely.
Yeah, that
And
sort of
moving
needs-
on.
Yeah, moving on and letting go of things. Well, it's really hard to do without spoiling. I think actually it goes to show, because we're recording this in the afternoon, but we went again in the morning, and there was 10. It was basically us and a bunch of kids with their parents in there. And
We're gonna edit that out.
It added to the atmosphere though, because there was one kid at the front who just started laughing hysterically at some parts, and I was like, "That's nice."
there was one kid dancing in the aisle too. Did you see that
Yeah.
one?
Oh no, I didn't see that.
But
Well, that's testament to how well they've been able to bring this franchise forward and still appeal to. Like, there was loads of jokes going round with all these releases that we're talking about how the average age of the cinema goer during these releases is going to be our age, like mid to late 20s. But in fact, it is getting, this one particularly got passed down through the generations, I think.
Well, it's a nice parallel, isn't it? That we all went and we're kind of late 20s now. But we are very much the Andy of Toy Story, and all the little kids in the cinema are basically the Bonnies of the story.
Yeah, that's a really nice way to put it. I do think it shows testament to the story that
Why are you looking at me like that?
That was deep.
Yeah, well, I am just kind of analysing the profundity of my own life, right? Just sat here contemplating.
I can't believe Toy Story 4's done that to you.
I almost had a little weep at one part, honestly.
Yeah, I wasn't far off. It does go to show, like, testament to the Toy Story franchise and the story that we were probably laughing out loud the most compared to all the kids and adults in there. There's some great jokes in there.
Should we just quickly get the elephant out of the room? What do we think of the movie?
Are we doing our scores out of 6?
Out of 6, yeah.
You're both looking at me.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay.
It's hard not to,
I think
Andrew.
it's amazing. I'm a big fan, and I would give it 5 point. I'll go just 6. 5.6 out of 6.
Wow,
that's high.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fair though. I would, probably 5.3, 5.4 out out of 6. There's a bit, it dragged a little bit within the first kind of act, I thought, but when the ball started like rolling, then it was really good. Yeah,
I was gonna go 4.5, but because of the Chucky dolls, I'm gonna give it a 0.1 higher and give it a 4.6
out of 6.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice. Yeah, I definitely think like if you've got kids or even if you don't have kids, go and watch it because it's great.
I thought it was really good. I don't like 4.6 isn't low for me. That's a high score.
It was definitely the funniest Toy Story, I thought. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, some of the scenes with Buzz in this one were just
Buzz is
funny.
a lot stupider in this one.
Yeah.
He's always been quite stupid.
But do you think that's because in the last one he gets you remember he goes Spanish?
Yeah, he has like an evil Spanish setting.
Yeah. So do you think it's like a knock on from that?
I think he's always just been a stupid toy. Yeah.
It wasn't focused, like, it's become much more of a Woody story than a Woody and Buzz story.
Yeah.
Tom Hanks is great as well. His voice acting is...
You love Tom Hanks.
I knew that was coming.
What's Tim Allen up to these days as well, apart from being Buzz?
Probably don't need to do anything.
No.
Couldn't tell you.
Just write that.
Yeah, you get all the old same people doing all the same voices, don't you? Apart from, did one of them die?
Potato Head. That's why he doesn't say much.
Okay.
He didn't say anything.
Oh yeah.
Didn't say anything in the entire film.
They do. I guess if you've got like favourites, they do sort of relegate. Like some of them aren't in it that much from the previous ones.
Yeah. It's actually really light on Buzz, isn't it? They almost crowbarred him into a couple of scenes. Just because I feel like he is.
Well, you've got over 3 films, you accumulate so many characters now, like, and then you need to introduce new characters as well to make it a new story. So I mean, of course, some of the old characters that from the first one that we might really enjoy aren't that important anymore, like Rex or Slinky. Yeah.
But saying that, there was
Ham?
a good bit.
Is he called
Ham? I think he is. Yeah. He did have a really good line when he was like, "But it's money."
And they also bring back an old character, which is really well done.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a spoiler or not, because I think she's in the posters.
She's in the trailers,
yeah. So Bo Peep comes back, and she's really good in it.
Also, what was really good about this one, I thought, was the protagonist, not the protagonist, the antagonist was a lot more relatable and had a really good arc to her story.
Definitely.
Than some of the previous ones.
Yeah, she wasn't just like a cackling maniac, was she? Like
Lotso had quite a cool story in Toy Story 3, but he was still just pretty nuts.
Yeah, just an evil bear.
Yeah, but this one's really well done, I thought.
I actually went back and watched 1 and 2.
Did you?
Over these past 2 nights, yeah.
What do you think?
They move a lot quicker than I remember them. I haven't watched them in a while.
Yeah.
I've seen 3 quite a lot.
The animation does not really hold up anymore for 1, I think.
It's still amazing though.
It is, which
is your favourite?
The toys are really well done in 1, but like Andy in 1 is really weird.
Well, they do that also with the adults. They do the Tom and Jerry of just show adults from the waist down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I think is quite a nice touch, but in this one they don't.
No,
you get full.
It's like the news when they're talking about obesity and they can only film people from like the neck down, so you can't tell who they are.
Right.
Because I went into this thinking. Sorry, that news thing. They actually do that.
Yeah.
What? They film people from the neck down?
Yeah, when they're talking about obesity. But you know, they do like the classic pan shot where people are walking down a high street.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they've got people walking down a high street, but like...
Oh, I see what you mean. I thought you meant like if they're having someone on to interview.
No.
He means like if they're walking down the street.
It's like stock footage.
Oh.
Right.
In the background of a news report.
I was thinking the interview thing too.
Yeah, I was thinking like they're sitting there in like a chair being interviewed about obesity and they're just literally showing their like chest and legs.
They would if I was cameraman.
I went into these thinking like, do we need a fourth one?
Yeah.
And it proved me wrong for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of ageless, the franchise. It's not. I've never watched one and thought I really don't want them to make another one now.
Do you think they'll do another one after this?
Yeah, I do.
You reckon?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, you could argue that their stories are complete, but you could have argued that at the end of 3.
True.
The themes in this one were pretty good, I thought.
Yeah, definitely.
I think so. And it does. Like, kids can relate to it. You can relate to it as an adult as well.
Yeah, I want them to be still making them when I have kids, and so I get to go to the cinema.
Toy Story 10.
Yeah. Well, I'd rather see Toy Story 10 than Fast and Furious 10 or whatever they're on.
Fair point.
What did you think of the new character, Forky, which is a spork?
I actually have... Do you know the reason why he's called Forky?
No.
So, I can't remember the director's name, but he said that he's called Forky because, one, he didn't think that a child of Bonnie's age would know what a spork was, so it'd be to do with fork. And so then he asked his own kid, what if you had a toy that was a fork, what would you call it? And the kid was like, fork face? And he was like, yeah, we can't go with that.
I think someone drops that line in it.
No one said that.
No?
Get out of it. Making stuff up.
So apparently that's the reason why
They
it's
didn't
called
even show
Forky.
Well, actually, that's a spoiler, so I'm not going to say it.
Yeah. So
But considering how catered the film was to younger audiences, there was definitely no fork face in there.
Yeah. It was. I really liked Forky as the new character. He goes through a really bizarre but quite funny existential crisis. And it's very weird 10 minutes of film, that bit. And
he reminded me very much of like the Korg role in Thor Ragnarok.
Right.
Just the kind of comedy relief.
Yeah.
Some of the things, oh god, he was hilarious. Some of the things he said.
Yeah.
Do you know, I actually remembered this part during us watching it and wanted to mention it. The sound that was coming out was absolutely amazing. Like, the bit at the very beginning, where, without spoilers, they're trying to save a toy.
Yeah.
There was very little dialogue in that scene, but there was like them jumping onto the windowsill and like opening the window and opening the latch and like getting lowered down, and it was amazing.
You really like the household sounds.
It was really well done.
Do you know what they in this movie especially, but in all the Toy Stories, having rewatched them recently, Pixar do horror so well and make it really what's the word?
Visceral.
Palpable.
Yeah, powerful, but you know when like a kid can watch it. You know, like I guess Universal.
Yeah.
You know, there is some stuff.
There's
definitely
definitely
that scene you're talking about, and that we'll talk about in spoilers. But there's a lot of things that are kind of like elements from horror movies, but they do it so well and so child friendly.
I think I've seen on YouTube people do like fake trailers, or they like take bits out of Pixar films and can make them into like horror films, essentially. Well, trailers for horror films. You're right there, Andrew. Having a little bit of trouble with the mic.
I got the janky mic stand.
Yeah.
Carry on. It could easily be. I mean, they could make them way more scarier if they wanted to.
Oh yeah.
They could do an R rating.
I mean, R-rated Toy Story.
I really hope they don't.
No, I don't.
Isn't that just Team America? That's like
not to
without the strings.
Not to sexualize it, but to make it, you know, like a
I see what you mean.
horrific horror.
You're gonna fool them all, Gary.
Well, I mean, like especially like in Toy Story 3, that scene where they're all accept their fate of being burned alive and just start like holding each other's hands. Like it's some pretty adult themes there.
Well, I would say in the first one, the whole existential element, like so Sid is obviously a little like wiener, but his dad has walked out on him, I think.
No, there's a bit in the first one is it's more like neglected.
Okay, so
kid.
he's neglected.
Because there's a scene in the first one where like you briefly see Sid's dad, but he's lying on the couch, but he's surrounded by Coca-Cola bottles
in his hunting room, isn't it?
Yeah, because they're not allowed to obviously show beer cans.
Yeah,
but it's
so
quite,
it's hinted at.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's just, and I think the end of that where Woody does the kind of exorcist head turn at Sid. And he, what does he say? He says something to him to scare him into like toys are alive and they have feelings.
So play nice. Is
Yeah.
that what he says?
Yeah.
And play nice.
Yeah.
And they completely freak him out.
Yeah. I mean,
he becomes a bin man later, doesn't he? He's in the background of Toy Story 2 or 3.
He's like an Easter
and he's
egg.
wearing the same T-shirt.
It's a Zero T-shirt. You know the skate company?
Oh yeah, of course it is.
Throwing a shacker. Cool.
But yeah, that's a good example of those adult themes. And I mean, I don't think toys are real in real life. Obviously, that would be mad.
They do. In this one, they really push it about, the people being aware of toys in this thing. The toys are interfering a lot.
It's almost as though people have got lazier and realizing what's going on.
Yeah, which actually could be true in this day and age.
I know. Yeah, I guess so. But I mean, the toys are like uber present in this one, aren't they?
Yeah,
but it kind of goes like, if the whole point of the toy's life is to be played with by a kid, the easiest way to do that is be like, I'm actually alive.
Yeah,
no?
That's two worlds colliding, Joe.
Yeah,
can't have that.
I would like to know. I don't think it'll ever happen, but like the magic of the toys coming to life. Do you think there's any kind of like backstory?
We
in
got
this
a little
universe?
bit of that in this one, didn't we?
Like,
with Forky.
Yeah, that's true. Actually,
he kind of just suddenly burst into life.
Yeah,
and was freaking out.
Is it supposed to be like the imagination of a child brings them to life?
Well, no, because they're alive when the kids aren't around. When
they're in a box.
When they're being played with, they're still just static.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, and interesting enough, he goes from when he's made, he's kind of like a baby, isn't he?
Yeah.
And then he slowly gets more and more of a awareness and a heart.
But then we saw in Toy Story 3 at the start, or 2, when you actually see what being played with is like from the point of view of the toys.
Yeah.
And it's very different, isn't it? Like, there was an actual like train robbery during that film. Was that 2 or 3?
That's 3, and Pixar do that really well. Is those cold opens. So the third one's a train robbery. The second one is Buzz doing like the canyon run in space, and I didn't think the first one's got one, and then this one's got that kind of, I guess, rescue scene at the start.
Yeah.
But 2 and 3, those cold openings are so good. The animation's insane.
I feel like they really insisted on the whole move from Andy to Bonnie as well at the start.
Yeah.
Like, we got it at the end of 3, but they really just like it started at Andy's, didn't it? It was 9 years before.
Oh, of course it was.
When he saved the RC car. But yeah.
Do we have anything else?
No, I think we can go into spoilers, can't we?
Yeah. Spoiler warning.
Spoilers. If you don't want to be spoiled, don't listen from here on. But go and watch it because it's great.
And if you do want to be spoiled, go get Daddy's credit card.
Oh, goodness sake.
Where should we start?
Probably
In
at the
spoiler?
start. I knew you were going to say that.
Fine.
Sorry, mate. No, that was mean.
He's made you look a bit silly, Andrew.
So, Arlo?
What are we going to do? Just run it down?
Should we do the same as what we did for Dark Phoenix? Just kind of break it down scene by scene? I mean, we're going to be running long.
I mean,
we're in an hour now.
Okay.
So it started 9 years ago at Andy's house. And the opening scene is them saving this toy that's been left outside. And it's
the RC car.
That's getting washed away in the rain, basically.
Yeah.
Like you say, that was scary because they had like crazy thundering rain.
Yeah.
And those like, man, I can't think of words today. You know, that just
the
like the tension. It's very tense. They had to get this car, and like horror style, it kind of reminded me of It. You know, it's all based in like gutters and drains.
Oh yeah.
And it's been the RC car has been swept down in amongst the leaves, and
there was a real threat. You felt like if they didn't save it, that was going to be it for RC. He was going to be washed down and see you later.
Yeah, exactly. And I think what the start was really trying to highlight was Woody's role as the leader of the group of toys.
Yeah. Also,
that he was kind of orchestrating the rescue, wasn't he?
Yeah,
and then
definitely.
He was the one who affected it as well.
Yeah, but also his relationship with Bo Peep as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the setup of it, wasn't it?
Which I didn't realise was his little sister's toy.
Yeah, I didn't realise that either.
I don't know if they did specify that in the first one or not. You've seen them recently.
We got backstory
They
there.
don't, but Andy's sister's definitely in it from the first one, so
yeah,
it's not like a retcon.
No.
Never, like you say, never specified.
Yeah, so they do the big rescue, but Woody's not quite. They can't quite reach RC until Bo Peep steps in.
That's a Hollywood trope, isn't it? There's that struggle where they're like, grab my hand.
Yeah.
Cliffhanger style.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Is that Sylvester Stallone?
That is.
And she dies at the
Yeah,
start.
yeah.
That's horrendous.
It's really bad.
I've only seen the first 10 minutes of that film.
What film are you talking about?
Cliffhanger.
No,
He's on this
great.
rope over a canyon, and her harness isn't like buckled in, so he's like with all his sinew. He's like holding her.
He's a very sinewy man.
He is quite sinewy, yeah, wiry. And he can't hold her any longer, and he drops her.
It's like hanging on by a thread, and she just plummets to her death. It's pretty insane.
Wow.
Yeah.
And the villain in it's John Lithgow.
Nice.
Yeah.
But we didn't have a scene like this in Toy Story, but I got
my mind,
RC doesn't plummet to his death.
I got distracted, and Slade brought up a film I'm interested in.
You should watch it because it's great in that 90s action style. It's got what's the dude that plays Arrow Whistleman in the Marvel universe? Michael Rourke.
Michael Rourke.
Is it Michael Rourke?
Who are you talking about?
You know the dude in the Guardians. He whistles, and he's got
That guy.
that guy.
It's Rook, isn't it?
Is it Rourke?
I think it's just Rook.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were pronouncing Mickey Rourke really badly.
Yeah, that's what I thought he was doing. The guy at the wrestler, Michael Rourke.
Well, he's been in the MCU as well, hasn't he?
Yeah, he was
Whiplash.
in Iron Man 2. That's terrible. Anyway,
Really
back
bad.
to Toy Story.
Back to the first scene of Toy Story.
So
this also gives explanation as to where Bo Peep has gone, doesn't it? Because obviously she was there in 1 and then she disappeared for 2 and 3, and it was kind of hinted at as well, wasn't it? Like,
yeah, does he say we lost Bo?
yeah,
In 2 or 3.
Yeah.
He does talk about it.
And so you find out that Bo Peep is actually part of. It's not a toy as such. It's part of a lamp set.
Yeah, because Andy's little sister's scared of the dark.
But the mum gives that lamp away because I assume she's grown up a little bit and she's no longer scared of the dark. And you have a moment where like Woody's kind of Bo Peep's in the cardboard box that's about to get taken away, and Woody has a chance to jump in with Bo, and he puts his hand on the lip, which is mirrored again later in the film.
Yeah.
But because
I didn't notice that. That's true.
Because Andy, he's about to jump in, but then Andy comes out like shouting, I've lost Woody, I've lost Woody. And that's when you kind of see him move away. And you don't get anything else, but it's implied that he's just gone back to, well, no, he drops on the floor and then Andy finds him.
He finds him outside.
Because Woody is always just has this nostalgia for Andy, doesn't he?
Well, essentially, yeah.
Like, Andy this,
so
Andy
those
that.
2 moments where he's got his hands and he doesn't know whether to go with Bo Peep or not, the thing that made his mind up the first time, Andy being that anchor, isn't an element anymore because Andy's moved on. He's gone to college, so now he can do what he wants and go with Bo.
Yeah.
Next scene.
What was the next scene?
Then it does the
present
the kind
day
of,
with Bonnie.
present day.
And you get the
happened.
transition with the bottom of his boot, which says Bonnie now instead of Andy.
And then,
But this is what you were talking about in your non-spoiler review, where it's like a change in like dynamic.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's no longer the leader either, is he? there's this. I don't know what the character's name was.
She's from Toy Story 3, no?
Yeah, she is in 3. But who's that actor that voices her?
I don't know, but
because she's sort of in it a lot at the start, but then completely drops off at the end.
yeah,
Like,
I want to say
speak
Jessica Chastain.
No,
Is
it's
it
not.
Chastain?
Don't you dare.
But yeah, so he's no longer the leader of the group
Yeah.
of toys. Really, no one. Well, like he still kind of wants to be, but no one will listen to him. And she's very much the force against him.
Yeah, she's like the boss of the room. But the only danger I find of Toy Story is they can be kind of formulaic.
Yeah.
So a lot of it is just like Woody gets side-benched by whoever.
Side-benched.
What's it called?
I don't know. Sidelined.
Benched? Sidelined?
Benched,
I don't know, I mix the two up.
Yeah,
I don't know
side-benched.
sports.
Evidently.
Yeah, he gets sidelined or benched, whichever your sport is, and then there'll be some kind of rescue mission. Like every one of these movies
Yeah.
does that, or they get taken to like someone needs to be rescued from a new setting.
Yeah.
Well, there's that bit, isn't there, where so they're all in the cupboard because they've been cleared away by the parents. Then Bonnie gets home to play with the toys.
Yeah.
She opens up the cupboard and takes like all the, I don't know, the ones we're used to seeing out and starts playing with them, but then leaves Woody in there
But takes his sheriff badge,
and takes his sheriff badge and puts
rips
it
it off his
on
chest.
Jesse.
That is brutal,
Yeah.
isn't it? Yeah.
And then he's just sat in there with the other toys who don't really ever get played
Yeah.
with, who seem used to it at this
One
stage.
of which is a chair.
Yeah, it's like a little stool.
They're really like loose with the rules of this universe, I
Yeah.
find.
And I think they're getting loose.
A bit like your mic stand.
Yeah, looser and looser.
But yeah, they seem used to not being played with, and they're actually saying, oh, they're reminiscing, and they've got a load of nostalgia for when Bonnie was playing house. They're like, oh, remember when she used to play house? Those were the days.
Yeah.
And then Woody's kind of coming to terms with not being played with anymore, and he's got a dust bunny on him. They're like, oh, look, his first dust bunny.
Yeah. And they say they're gonna call it a what's it called?
Tumbleweed.
Tumbleweed, because he's a cowboy, and he did not enjoy that joke whatsoever, did he?
Yeah.
This is also where we find out that Bonnie's going to start kindergarten the next day.
Yeah.
Is it
Yeah.
the next day? Or
It's like an integration day,
Yeah.
like an introductory thing.
Yeah. And so she wants to take a toy with her, and her dad's just like, no, you're not allowed.
Yeah, but Woody takes it upon himself to make sure her first day at kindergarten's like okay.
Yeah, he jumps in the bag. I also did want to point out, good trope with nerdy dad wearing his Converses to try and be cool, but he's clearly not.
I didn't even notice he was
No,
wearing
yeah.
Converses.
I didn't clock that at all.
The dad in this film was actually really funny. I
Yeah.
thought, it wasn't him being funny. Like what happened to him was
Yeah.
often quite funny. But yeah, so Woody jumps in the bag and they go to kindergarten introduction day, which was the first like 30 seconds of that were really bleak.
Yeah.
Like-
Well, it's just. I feel like a lot of kids go through that. though,
This
don't
is
they?
what Pixar do really well as well.
Mm.
Like look at
The first
Inside
5
Out as well,
Yeah.
and things like that.
The
Yeah,
first 5 minutes, 10 minutes of Up.
up. Yeah,
It's so sad.
Yeah.
yeah, they're amazing at it.
Yeah.
So much better at Disney. It's a lot more like emotionally deep than Disney a lot of
Yeah.
times. Like Disney's a lot of the times just good guys and bad guys
Yeah.
against each other, whereas Pixar don't really do that. They're a lot more complex.
Yeah. And it is quite a feat to be able to do that, I think.
Yeah,
to
definitely.
like balance that. Yeah, they're so good at doing it.
And there's that little kid that comes over, and Bonnie's like, "Hey," and he's like,
Just
knocks-
ignores her.
Yeah, just
He's got an apple in his mouth
He's got
as
an
well.
apple in his mouth. Just picks up the
And then straight spits the apple into the bin and just like takes all the crayons away
So Woody goes into that bin and he chucks out her crayons that
By her
kid's,
feet.
Yeah, but also in doing so, he chucks out a load of trash that
Yeah.
becomes
Forky.
Forky or the Spork, which you could have gone like, well, Dr. Frankenstein with that, can you? Like Frankenstein's monster.
This idea of Woody as a creator of life.
Yeah.
Some kind of like biblical parallels.
But was that gum that attached his?
I
The
think
spork
it
to
just
the-
kind of looked like clay. I don't know.
Oh, was it?
yeah.
I wasn't sure if it was gum because I was like, that's gross.
I don't think her parents would let her play with it.
Yeah.
If it was, like,
Someone else's gum.
Yeah. And also, which kindergartner's chewing gum?
The cool kid.
But yeah, it makes her whole first day a little bit easier to bear, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I think that's what it is. She gets attached to it because it's like a coping mechanism.
Yeah, she's really happy with what she's made, and she goes and shows it to her parents.
And Sporky becomes the new favourite toy.
Forky.
Yeah.
Forky.
Oh, it's a spork.
But this is where, like, so he comes to life in the bag.
In the bag,
on the way home.
It's really funny.
It's really well done scene.
Yeah. Woody's just looking at him, kind of having like this, they all told me not to go to kindergarten with Bonnie today, but I showed them, and like she's so happy now because of me. And then Forky just kind of goes like, ah! And Woody's like, oh God.
It reminded me of like the Meeksies from
Meeseeks.
Meeseeks from Rick and
Mr.
Morty.
Meeseeks.
That just don't want to exist.
Yeah. No, their basically purpose in life is to fulfill one job and then disappear.
Which is essentially what a spork is,
Yeah,
right?
which is why he keeps insisting he's trash, and he keeps trying to run over to the bin all the time and throw himself in it.
All those times.
Thing is, it went on for so long as well. I thought that he was going to try and jump in the trash like once, and then Woody was going to be like, "No, you're a toy," and he'd be like, "Oh, okay." But no, in fact, like it was a good like 15 minutes of him just like trying to throw himself in the trash, and then eventually
it had the capacity to get really tiring.
Yeah.
I was wondering whether they were going to keep up that thing throughout the entire film, and whether we'd just get. Yeah, it was a good joke the first 10 times, and then it started getting a little bit tired.
They did do some like new style of jokes in this. There was like that, and they also did some good like cutaways with those characters that come later.
Oh yeah,
you know when they're trying to get that key. So yeah,
that was hilarious.
Yeah, that was so good.
So then Woody's got to like basically keep an eye on Sporky because he keeps trying to throw himself. Forky.
I've done it.
And then eventually, like, Woody and Buzz are having a hilarious talk about their conscience.
Oh yeah, that's really deep as well.
Yeah. Where it just shows you how much they've dumbed down Buzz's character, because like he just can't understand like inner monologue.
but that was brilliant. So that joke kept coming back. That was really funny.
So he keeps just using his buttons as like that's what he thinks his conscience is, and that's what he will always do.
He says, what he says is like, oh, my inner voice, and he goes, who is it? And he goes, it's me talking. He's like, you don't have a conscience, like something that tells you to do things and not do things, and he's like, no.
But that whole conversation leads to Forky getting time to basically run away from Bonnie and
he
jump
out of the window of an
RV. Moving car.
Yeah, so we kind of skipped that, didn't we? The parents come into Bonnie's room and say that they're going on like a road trip because she was such a good girl at kindergarten.
Just Dad's chance to take his RV out, I think.
Yeah. No, it's a rental, mate.
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah,
it is a rental. He goes to great lengths to explain that it's a rental.
Where's it going to? Oh yeah. So he escapes.
Yeah.
Get Woody's rescue arc.
Woody rescues, and then they kind of have a heart to heart. Forky thinks Bonnie's trash, but in an endearing way.
Yeah. So he perceives trash as being like the good thing in the world, right? And so
that's his purpose.
That's his purpose. Yeah. So he realizes that he has a new purpose.
It's so well that they actually wrapped that up then.
Yeah.
Pun.
Yeah, no, definitely.
I really like that they're walking like on the highway, basically, like near the grass, and Woody's kind of dragging him along because he's so poorly made he can't walk. So he's like dragging him along, and then he goes like, he's like, why do I have to walk? And he's like, you just do, keep walking. And then he keeps going, carry me. It's like he's so useless. It's just like, carry me.
Yeah, he's just like he'll like pop up and do like 2 steps and then like fall over and be dragged across the concrete.
I think if it was like Disney doing that movie, that arc of just him liking trash would have been the whole movie for him.
Yeah.
Instead, but he gets like
I also like the idea of something that's so shoddily made and put together being like perfect to a child.
Yeah.
Like a kid being like, I absolutely love this thing that's just
and
piece
it
of
adds
rubbish.
another element because it must be tough for Woody because he knows not only is he a well-made toy, but he's also a collectible. Like he should be the most valued. But in fact, it's more about like the emotion behind the toys.
But he was the one who started it. I mean, he put all the ingredients for that toy to be made on the table. So
yeah, but he didn't think that would be Bonnie's favorite toy. He was just trying to make that day easier.
Yeah, he's trying to make her comfortable, I guess.
Yeah.
So stands to reason that the thing she then makes from the tools he provided is the thing that comforts her the most.
Yeah, it's about having an emotional connection with something rather than it being really well made.
Yeah, and then Forky is that because she's going to have to go back to kindergarten after the road trip. It doesn't start for like 2 weeks or something. He's that comfort for her to kind of go back to kindergarten and like not find it terrifying, I guess.
Yeah.
And then they end up in the antique store.
Are we missing anything there?
I think that's about it.
Oh yeah. No,
Yeah,
so they get to the town where the RV park is, and then he sees Bo Peep's lamp in the window of the antique store. Yeah. Yeah,
and then we go into the antique store, which is terrifying and so well done. There's these. What are they meant to be? Are they ventriloquist dolls?
Yeah.
Are they meant to be a kind of thing like that?
They very much look that way.
They're wheeling this freaky doll from like the 40s or something.
Wait, he's
in a pram.
Yeah, he's kind of wheeling the pram along, and you don't see her at first.
Yeah.
And then he looks around and looks straight at Forky and Woody.
Yeah.
Like, just really creepy.
It's so sinister. And then when then a few of them rock up and just like, oh man.
Yeah, that's it. So yeah, Gabby, who's the doll.
Yeah, and antagonist, kind of.
Yeah,
like,
I would say
like
so.
Nate, yeah,
she pops her head out and she's like, "Oh, hi there," and like speaking to Forky and Woody, and then they get in the pram. She's like, "Oh, I know where Bo Peep is," and it seems a bit sinister.
Yeah,
she's like, "I know where Bo Peep is. I'll take you to Bo Peep. Come with me." And they get in the pram with her, with weird...
Vincent.
That was his name?
Yeah, Vincent.
And he kind of looked like Jimmy Carr.
But just shiny.
Yeah. pushing the pram along. And then as the conversation was getting darker, the two other ventriloquist dummies kind of like walked along, like one on each side of the pram, and Woody's like, we're probably just going to go.
Yeah.
And it turns out that she has a broken voice box.
Yeah, wants his voice box because then she thinks it'll make the
it.
granddaughter of the antique stores.
She's called Harmony.
Harmony, yeah, love her.
Yeah, because she wants to be owned like Woody is, basically.
Yeah. So Forky and Woody try and make their escape, and it's supposed to be like sinister, but it just becomes hilarious how these ventriloquist dolls are running.
Yeah, because their legs don't really work.
really top heavy. And it's like you know when you're a kid and you run by just like leaning forward and hoping that your legs catch up. It's exactly like that.
But it goes back to what Andrew said about there being terrifying elements in every Toy Story film. Like the first Toy Story, when Woody said that to Sid, that freaked me out.
Yeah.
A lot. And to the extent where I was like, my sister had a Woody doll, and she used to put it in my bed to like scare me because I was that scared of Woody. Like I hated him.
That's so mean.
But yeah, this one you got those ventriloquist dummies who are really just creepy, sinister, and like they're kind of posted as sentinels around the antique store as like basically just monitoring what everyone's doing.
And do you know what else is creepy in Toy Story 1 is Sid's like hybrid dolls. You know, he steals his sister's dolls. Some of them are so freaky. There's the guy whose torso is just attached to the front of a skateboard, or the legs that's like a little fishing rod.
Yeah,
there's the baby head that's shaved. That's on like a
Meccano or
crab
something?
body.
Yeah, that's weird. Weirdly, we didn't get the aliens in this one.
No,
or the little army men.
Yeah, I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
Oh.
I think that's fine though. Like that joke's done.
Yeah, the aliens saved them at the end of 3, didn't they?
Yeah, the claw.
Yeah, no, it is quite scary, but they really balance it well because, like you said, we were in a cinema with loads of little kids, and yeah, it was like scary, but none of them were like.
None of them freaked out
about it because it was so funny at the same time.
I think we were more scared of the ventriloquist dummies than the kids were. We were like, oh god.
Yeah. So Forky gets captured by
Gabby.
Gabby.
Yeah. I don't know why they didn't just call her Gabby. Maybe that's, I don't know, maybe that's like a 50s toy.
Yeah,
reference.
is it based on a real toy?
I presume.
Yeah.
Maybe,
I reckon
yeah.
so, yeah.
I don't like the way the eyes move on it though. It's really
But
weird.
that's accurate.
Yeah, I know it is
Yeah.
accurate, but it's creepy as hell, isn't it?
Yeah.
They played with some weird toys in the 50s.
But so, yeah, Forky gets left behind, doesn't he?
Yeah, he gets left behind. So Woody.
But at this point, he's become this really, I don't know, not eloquent, but he's like really good at just getting on with people.
Yeah.
So
But it's not like a sinister thing between Forky and Gabby, is
No,
it? It's
no.
like she wants something from Woody,
So she's going to keep
so
Forky.
she's
'cause
going
she
to keep
knows-
Forky. Yeah.
But then she has this whole conversation with Forky, doesn't she? She's like, tell me more about Woody. Like, tell me about his history.
Yeah, which comes back later, doesn't it? In the how she convinces Woody.
Well, because Forky, when he's having that conversation with Woody on the roadside, Woody accidentally says Andy instead of Bonnie.
Yeah.
And then Forky kind of goes like, "Who's Andy?"
Oh yeah, no.
But so that's what I'm saying. Like, Forky's meant to be this really like basic character, but at the same time, he's really emotionally intelligent.
Yeah.
I remember the funny bit that we missed out. That was when they're having that conversation on the roadside, and then it skips forward, and then Forky was like, "And he thought the room was a planet." That must have been so annoying.
He's just ripping on Buzz.
And then Woody's like, "I know, right?"
That was good. Yeah, and at this point, he's carrying him as well, isn't he? He's like got his arms around his neck.
That's it, because Woody gets Harmony to take him. He like pulls the strings. That's how he escapes.
Oh yeah,
because
because he's about to get captured, isn't he?
Yeah, and then he escapes with Harmony and ends up
In a park?
in
Playground.
the park.
Yeah.
Playground, yeah.
And that's when Bo Peep gets reintroduced.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, so you introduce a few characters, but the best ones,
I know what you're saying.
the army men,
Oh.
right?
Combat cars.
Yeah, is that what they were called?
Yeah.
Combat
I
car,
think it's because they can't say G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
guess. Yeah.
or Action Man, or anything like that.
Yeah. So Combat Car is basically.
But so he meets up with Bo Peep again.
But he sees before that he sees her sheep, doesn't he? He kind of sees her sheep go under the
Oh yeah.
whatever you would call that spinning thing.
The round merry. Oh, I don't know what they're called.
No, like a I don't know what you'd call it.
What? What are you talking
You
about?
know those things you run alongside it and then jump on. It
And it
spins around in a
spins.
circle.
Oh.
It makes you sick too.
Yeah. I don't know. What,
Anyway,
what are those things called? Roundabouts?
Merry-go-rounds.
Roundabouts. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, one of those. He sees her sheep go underneath that and kind of off stage, I guess. And he's like, "Oh, maybe Bo's near." And then meets up with her.
And they're reunited. And yeah, those combat cars. One of them keeps getting left hanging on high fives.
That was great.
Always goes for it.
That was completely needless, wasn't it?
I love that bit.
Yeah, I think that might be one of the best jokes in there for me.
It's the winter one as well, isn't
Yeah.
it? He's all dressed up in his
Because
furs.
there are three of them, and two of them jump and high five each other, and he goes like this, and no one interacts with him. But then one of them high fives Woody,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
Woody
it's
just
Woody.
leaves him hanging, and he's like, he holds his arm up for like another 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
So then, so at this point, Buzz is looking for Woody. Woody's looking for Forky with the help of Bo. That's how it goes next?
Yeah, well, Woody says to Bo that Forky's trapped in the antique store, and then it turns out that Bo Peep was in the antique store for like 1 or 2 years.
That's it.
And that she now doesn't have an owner. She's what they refer to as a lost toy.
Yeah.
But she wants to be that way.
I quite liked what they did with her character. They sort of turned her into this like nomadic woman, really. You know, she's just like living as she goes, doing her own thing. You know, she's like fixing stuff. She's making stuff. She's just like.
Yeah, her like arm was falling off, and she just taped it back on.
Yeah, just tapes it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was a nice touch to make her, you know, just out there on her own.
Is she made out of? Are we meant to believe she's made out of porcelain? Because the sheep are as well. They're like the noise they make when they hit things was quite like.
Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah.
She's very shiny as well, isn't she?
Yeah.
Guess so. So Buzz decides to go look for Woody because he uses his inner voice, and he just like presses one of his buttons. It's like, let's go on a mission.
And that was a like recurring motif as well. Them all jumping out of the window of the RV.
Yeah.
So like I think the toy that's in charge is like, stop jumping out the window. Why is everyone jumping out the window? That's not a plan.
But it's at this point that the kind of like the Rex, the pig, what's it called?
Ham.
That's such a lazy name for a pig.
It's from the perspective of a child though, isn't it?
Oh, that is true. Yeah.
Yeah, they sort of get and Jesse and I don't think Bullseye does anything in this movie.
No.
They just kind of at this point are sort of not really in it again until like the last 20 minutes or so.
No. And I think the obvious thing to do in these films would have been to make Jessie like the female protagonist and have everyone relate to her, but instead they brought back Bo Peep.
Yeah.
And I think it worked really, really well.
Yeah, I do too. I think because I mean, if like your personality was meant to mirror you being a toy, Bo Peep would be really dull because
exactly.
it's a lamp and Bo Peep's lost her sheep, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Her sheep name.
Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
I think that's how the nursery rhyme goes. At least that's parents who don't really care about their children. That's how they sing it. Little Bo Peep is blah blah blah.
Now go to sleep.
And her sheep are named after goats.
Billy Goat Gruff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just to confuse children worldwide.
Yeah, because Woody really carelessly gets their names wrong. He just
calls them boys.
He calls them boys and they're girls.
Yeah.
It's like unconscious bias, maybe.
Yeah.
It's like assuming gender.
Her other sidekick is basically a Polly Pocket.
Yeah.
What it's called? It's like a detective.
That's
that
what it was.
Yeah.
Right. I knew I recognised that toy, but I couldn't think of what it was called.
Do you remember Mighty Max? Which was the boys' version of Polly Pocket.
No, just you, mate.
Just you.
Well, my friend too, because he reminded me about it.
Are you trying to kind of talk about Mighty Max because you had a Polly Pocket and you're covering your tracks? The perfect crime.
It was real, all right?
In case you're wondering at home, this podcast isn't sponsored by Mighty Max. So where do we go to next?
They go back to the antique store, don't they, to try and get Forky.
Rescue mission number 1.
And so, do they go into the nightclub place?
First, before
no, that's towards the end. No, that's further towards the end.
Is it? Yeah. I think first they try it. They're meant to go with Bo's plan, but Woody kind of messes it up.
Oh,
he goes
of course,
for it, and then you get. There's a fight, isn't there? Which is really good. And Bo Peep's sheep attach themselves to one of the ventriloquist butts, and then she also takes away. Oh no, she's got Forky. She's got Forky and the sheep. Gabby does.
Yeah.
So then Bo Peep's pretty annoyed at Woody.
Yeah.
Because Woody lost Bo Peep's sheep. Is the new nursery rhyme. So then they have to go to the original plan. Oh, we have missed something.
Well,
so the original plan, the original plan was go to the nightclub and get someone to help them. But before that, Buzz ends up trapped in
on like a toy stool.
Yeah, that like game where you
throw I think it's like rockets to hit targets.
Yeah.
But,
and they say that they've been there for like 2 years because.
Well, before that he goes to try and rescue Woody, but he doesn't know what a highway is. So he pulls off this really cool move where he gets onto the.
He use this in a voice again. We need to use the slingshot technique.
Yeah, so he builds up a load of speed on the carousel, and then launches, but then gets hit by another one of the fairground rides and bounces back into a porta potty, and then the owner of the stall picks him up because he goes limp.
Yeah.
The owner of the store picks him up and tethers him to the prize board, where you meet the
attached teddy bears, weren't they?
Yeah.
What were their names in it? Was it just Bunny and?
I don't know. And Ducky, maybe.
Ducky?
Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah.
Who were the actors voicing them? Because they were really good. They were funny.
I at first thought it was Key and Peele, but looking at the. Oh no, it was. Yeah, it was. It was Key and Peele.
Awesome.
Yeah, they were funny.
That's this generation's Keenan and Kel, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
To put it in layman terms.
So they basically Buzz. Oh, that was quite funny as well. They're kicking Buzz in the head. Or they're slapping Buzz. And Buzz uses his inner voice again, touches one of his speech commands, and it says time to put up our helmet or something like that.
Something about the atmosphere.
Being on a toxic planet, yeah. And so he puts his helmet up and traps the cuddly bear's foot in his helmet.
Yeah.
Do you think underneath all that inner voice, because obviously it's a huge way of doing comic relief, But do you think they're trying to get the message across of like listen to yourself and
Yeah, maybe.
your conscience and stuff like that? Do you think it was like? I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you think it's a subtle hint at that, or do you think it was just a big joke?
They used it for a lot of comedy, didn't they?
It was.
And it did. They used it to kind of move the plot along quite a lot of times as well, because that whole Buzz being trapped in that game, that could have lasted for ages.
Yeah.
But it didn't. It lasted 2 minutes.
Yeah, I think you also get every time he does it, he gets the right outcome. So he's almost rewarded for listening to his inner voice, which is quite funny.
Apart from at the end.
But he keeps having to press it, press it, and press
But then he just talks instead.
Yeah, that's so good. When he's chucked in the cupboard, he's like, what does he say now?
He says...
something about a backpack.
Yeah, it basically... Yeah, the mum's putting him into a cupboard.
Your backpack's at the antique store.
He literally just comes out and says it.
And then they're just like, oh, the antique store.
Bonnie. Oh, well, that's also interesting that the parent doesn't really hear what he says. But Bonnie goes, my backpack.
Yeah.
So she's the only one who hears him.
Hmm.
But then it's also kind of insinuated that she doesn't hear what he says. She just kind of comes to a realization that she's forgotten her backpack.
Yeah.
No, I think she hears it and then just kind of triggers her memory. Yeah.
Interesting. I reckon they've worked out, like the which is why it's so good, the rules of this universe. Like, I'm sure the writers have like an explanation of why the parent didn't hear it, but it triggered Bonnie
for continuation of the films. They are quite careful with that.
Have you ever like dived deep into the Pixar theory?
Is this the one where they're all connected?
Yeah. And the reason the toys are alive is because of the memories.
Yeah, can you explain the whole thing?
It would take a lot. The guy that came up with it, a user on Reddit, has now written an entire book on the Pixar theory.
Wow.
But essentially, it's one timeline that starts with the Good Dinosaur. Is that what it's called?
Also called Arlo, by the way.
What?
The Good Dinosaur. It's his name in the film.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I've never seen it.
No,
because in America it's called Arlo's Journey or The Adventures of Arlo or something.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
But it's really I hate it because my little cousins were watching it one Christmas, and the like father dinosaur in that film always goes like Arlo. So my little cousins started doing that to me, and I
don't know why you've told us that.
I was very much on a I was here first, you little cretins vibe. But yeah.
Hungover at Christmas, I mean, that's all you needed, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, and them just constantly going Arlo. It's like, yeah, cheers.
So the Pixar theory basically starts with the Good Dinosaur, and in that film, the meteor that's supposed to hit the planet to kill all the dinosaurs actually misses, and you're led to believe that's the difference between our universe and the Pixar universe. But eventually the dinosaurs die out, you get the age, then you get Brave is the next one.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen Brave?
Yeah, I've seen it, yeah.
So there's the witch in that sorry, this mic stand keeps falling. Anyway, I'll just keep talking while you're trying to fix that. So Brave is set in Scotland, and there's an old witch in that film that is...
There's a carving, isn't there?
There's a carving of Sully from Monsters, Inc. So the whole theory, I could go into it in much greater detail, but the whole theory is that witch is Boo from Monsters, Inc. And the monsters in Monsters, Inc. aren't in a different dimension or anything like that. They're actually in the future, and the doors that they go through are to go into the past rather than... So they go back into, say, the timeline, the same kind of time as what Toy Story is set, but they're actually in the future, and Boo's used one of those doors to go back even further to when Brave is set and start this whole thing off, because the theory is that it's memories that are important for, one, the energy crisis in Monsters, Inc., and you get to see them in Inside Out, all like different colours, and that's why they focus on children rather than adults, because in Inside Out at the end you find that you can have more complex emotions, and kids have very like one-dimensional, like joy, anger.
Yeah.
But in Inside Out, they mutate into kind of like more emotions into one memory. That's why the monsters focus on the children, and that's also the energy source that is powering the toys, is the emotion that the kids have towards those toys.
Huh.
So, but that's it in a nutshell.
Yeah.
But it goes through like, it's got like Wall-E and cars and how the cars came to life and stuff. So if you have like a spare month, then like
I'll link it in the description.
yeah, there's so many different videos on it. It is really interesting.
It's good.
And there's so many like it kind of, instead of having like nods and Easter eggs to different films, it then it's more like evidence for them actually sharing a universe than just being like little nods.
Yeah, it's very well
done.
described.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you. I might have got loads of bits wrong. But, I can't remember how we came onto that though.
Me neither. Just talking. I don't know.
Anyway, so we got to the first failed attempt at saving Forky.
Yeah. So everyone. So Buzz, the two fluffy toys.
Reunite with Bo Peep and Woody.
Yeah, they get into they meet on the roof, don't they, of the antique store? So they join the rescue mission.
I think they're still at the carnival at this point, but then they
Oh yeah.
yeah, and then they decide to go and rescue Forky. Or
Yeah.
Buzz wants to help.
Yeah, Buzz wants to.
It did go very quickly from them being really angry at Woody for messing up the whole thing and only caring about getting Forky back to Bonnie, to then that crew meeting up with the original toys and then like, oh, okay, let's go
Yeah.
get Woody again.
Yeah.
That's a bit later on, isn't it? That's like, I guess that happens after this bit, doesn't it?
Oh, okay.
They because there's a cat guarding it. There's a cat.
There's just there's a cat in the store that tears toys apart, basically.
So this fight happens and then it all goes wrong, and so they go to like this nightclub bit of the of the antique store, where we meet
the best character
Yeah.
in the film.
definitely, what's his name?
Duke Kaboom.
Duke
Kaboom.
who is Canada's Evel Knievel.
Yeah. A toy version. And then so they meet him and ask for his help, and then Woody lets slip that he has
An owner.
And as soon as he said that, Bo Peep's like, oh no. And she must have heard this story about 1,000 times. But the story of like his backstory is only quick, but it is hilarious.
Yeah.
Because just the best thing about it is the name of the kid.
I can't remember. It began with an R.
It's
like Regine or something.
Yeah, it's French
Rousseau?
Canadian,
Is it
isn't
Rousseau?
No, it's not that. It was like Rajan.
Yeah, Rajan.
Yeah.
That's so funny. Where in the background you've got the TV advert of Duke Kaboom, voiced by Keanu Reeves, amazingly.
Is it?
That's where of course it is.
Yeah,
And he's absolutely like he's soaring through the air.
Yeah,
And then you get the reconstruction of the toy with the kid, and he just pulls it back, and it basically just falls on its side straight away. And he's so disappointed that he just throws it away.
Honestly, the best like backstory I've seen.
What's the whole like Yes I Can thing?
Yeah, yes, I Canada.
Yes I Canada. That was it.
Canada. They really lean like really heavily into the thing, but later on when he's just like, "Can you help us?" He's like, "We."
Yeah. It's insinuated that he's got a bit of a crush on Bo Peep as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because he basically, when they get to him and they're saying they need his help, he's like, "Well, who would do that? What a stupid thing to do! Just rushing in there, not following the plan." Who like, but kind of looking at Woody at the same time, who's like a bit sick of him at this point.
I like that he shows off all his flexi moves, like as he's an action figure, he's doing like all his stunt bike poses while talking to them. And there's one where he's like doing the Superman, there's another, and he does it a few times where he puts his like legs up over his head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he kind of he gets really emotional after telling the story of how he became like a lost toy, doesn't he? And then Bo Peep's like, no, don't get upset, but just show us some more poses. Show us a couple more poses. We'd really want to see them, wouldn't we, Woody?
Yeah, that's great, because he also messes up that. I just remembered, because he does another jump at the end.
Yeah, that one's spectacular.
He messes that one up too, which is amazing.
Well, because the way that Bo Peep convinces him to do it isn't by saying like, "Oh, you can jump this," is that you can crash this
better than anyone else.
You're the best at crashing.
So yeah, they attempt the rescue, they fail, and there's a fight where Woody's. Yeah, I should bring that up actually. So that's it. They need a key to get in the cabinet.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's so they try and come up with ways to get the key off this very old lady that's the antique store owner, and Key and Peele's characters, what are they, Ducky and
but I don't know what they're.
Just, they keep going through like. It shows you what they would have done, which they don't do in Toy Story very much. It's like a cutaway.
It's like an Edgar Wright joke, I thought.
Yeah, and so like this old woman's just like walking past, and they just basically like jump on her and like
jump on her face,
and start like beating her up basically. And then they're like, no, we can't do that. And then they're like, oh, okay, we've got another plan, which is exactly the same. And then finally
they keep giving them names.
They keep giving them names. And then finally there's one more idea, which is like the same thing but really drawn out, where you just see like the whole day of this old lady like locking up the store, going home,
having
making
like
some
a
dinner,
glass of wine,
having a glass of wine in the bath, and then like she goes to bed, and then suddenly like they just jump on her.
They know that she turns the light on, and they're both just stood over her, like staring at her.
It's a really funny joke.
It's so well done. And then when they meet them and they're like, oh, how did you get the key? Basically, the old lady just puts it on the shelf in front of them.
But Buzz is like, it took a lot. It was really complicated.
Yeah. So and they all get kicked. They end up outside. There's like a chase with the cat, and they're on the motorbike.
Yeah.
Woody gets the back of him ripped because of his voice boxes in there.
Yeah, that they almost get the voice box out, don't they?
And then they escape through like the back window.
They don't get Forky again though. Forky gets trapped.
Forky's still trapped, and then there's that, like you were saying earlier, that bit about Woody.
Actually, I just remember that bit with one of the ventriloquist dummies, like Vincent, I think it was, when Woody first escapes the store with the little girl, and Vincent kind of just pops his head slightly over the window with Forky, and he's got his hand over his mouth. I was like, it's quite a nice like ventriloquist dummy joke as well at the same time.
Oh, that's great. That also there is a great bit. I can't remember if it's this rescue attempt where Vincent falls off the cabinet, and the way he lands is just kind of like just flops
Ragdolls,
down.
yeah.
I don't remember that bit.
Oh, it's good. So they're outside, and then they basically turn on Woody and say, "Look, all you do is you do this all the time. You don't care about anyone else. You're just focused on this one thing." And then it comes out that all he's got really is these rescue missions because Bonnie won't play with him.
Yeah, and he's still hung up on Andy.
Yeah, and he just feels like he's getting detached, left behind.
Yeah, abandoned, I guess. Yeah,
it's kind of where you start to realise there's no happy ending for Woody and Bonnie as a relationship.
Yeah.
I think like Andy will always be his kid.
What I thought was telling was that every time he would save Forky even at the start, even I'm doing it now, is he would like throw Forky back onto the bed next to her, or he'd like stop him from running away.
Yeah.
They would always be found next to each other. Like the mum would find Woody and Forky and then give both of them back to Bonnie, and she would always just hold Forky and like throw Woody away.
Yeah. So once that comes up, everyone just goes their separate ways.
What is it? He says something really harsh to Bo as well, doesn't he?
Oh yeah. He brings up Bo's nomadic lifestyle, I guess. He brings
her
up
being abandoned by Andy's younger sister.
Yeah, he brings that up, and that she doesn't have loyalty to anyone. I think that's what he says. It's something about not being loyal or whatever. So yeah, they get friction between them.
They're even so. At this point, I was expecting Buzz to go back into the antique store with Woody.
Yeah.
But he doesn't. Like, he doesn't. It's not that he doesn't stand by him. He's just still doing this inner voice thing, and he presses it, and it's like return to base. Actually, no, he presses it about 10 times, doesn't he? And it's like return to base, go back to Star Command, and like it just keeps saying the same thing, and he's like, damn it, and then just listens to what it says and goes back to the RV.
Yeah. So yeah, they go back, and Buzz kind of explains it, I think. Oh,
No, he goes back to the RV.
Jesse ends up. I can't remember what happens. It's weird. We've just watched this.
She lets the air out the tires on the
Yeah.
RV to buy them time, essentially. So
By
the
the
air
way,
doesn't leave.
Dad took a whole day to change one tire.
Yeah, but his sense of achievement once he'd done it, he was like, yeah.
There's a really funny like when they're trying to think about how to gain some time for Woody and that lot to get back. There's that one like pony.
Yeah, that
that's
keeps
like,
saying,
oh, it's a unicorn.
Yeah.
send the dad to jail.
They're trying to get the dad sent to jail, which is really dark.
Yeah, I wonder why the unicorn hates the dad.
Don't know.
There's a story there.
Yeah.
But then Woody goes back into the store, doesn't he?
Yeah.
On his own, and he's confronted by Gabby and the 4 ventriloquist dummies. And it's more of a just discussion of what she wants. She kind of comes clean about her motives a bit more. She's like, I want to be, taken in by Harmony and like have the chance that you've had. You've had 2 like loving owners at this point. Like I've never had that once, and I just want the opportunity to have that.
Because you find out that she was defective from being made as well.
Yeah. And he kind of willingly gives up his the like working component of his voice box because he doesn't at this point he doesn't have anything he doesn't need it basically. You get the impression he's made his decision that he's not going to stay with Bonnie, like Joe said.
I think, like you said earlier as well, it was quite a nice antagonist that you could relate to her. She wasn't just evil like usually.
She wasn't just one-dimensional, was she?
Yeah, exactly.
You did feel sorry for her, and in fact, like Forky is really rooting for her when she does get that chance with Harmony.
Yeah. But then she's tossed into a
wooden
crate.
In between that, doesn't Bo Peep come back into the store, and she finds that Woody's given up his voice box for Harmony. Yeah. And there's kind of like they come back to terms, like they
that's
bury the hatchet basically.
Bury the hatchet, and we'll bring. Basically, they say to Gabby, Bunny, and Ducky, come with us. Like you can just join our crew. Yeah. That was quite scary though when Woody wakes up and he's being sewn back up by ventriloquist doll.
Yeah.
Vincent. Yeah. Vincent was a very strange addition to this movie if you actually look at it, but it was hilarious.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, the new characters in this are actually.
We missed out the bit where the pram. There's like the runaway pram, and they were in the like skunk.
Oh yeah.
Like skunk, like little. What would you call it? Like a little RC car.
It's an RC car with a skunk
camouflage,
shell,
so they can travel faster. But they were being chased in this pram by Vincent, the ventriloquist doll, and he then ends up in the pram. And the woman comes over and she's like, "Oh my god, I hope the baby's okay." And she like lifts back the veil and it's like the ventriloquist doll. She's like, "Ah!" Just runs away from it.
Which would be every adult's reaction.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like, there's so many horror films being made. In fact, we walked out of the cinema and
Annabelle was that?
Annabelle, and it just looks exactly like Gabby. And I was like,
and so what happens after that? Actually, you get the moment between Harmony and Gabby.
Yeah.
Gabby before this is like practicing. She sees Harmony like playing tea party or whatever, and she's practicing along with her, and she's like, "Oh, I want to be perfect when I get my chance with her."
That's a great game.
And she picks her up. She finds her, doesn't she? And like the grandma says, "Oh, you can take that doll home with you if you really want." And she goes like, "Nah," and throws her into this.
And it is brutal.
Yeah, and Forky, Forky and Woody are watching on.
For goodness sake! Sorry, that was too late.
And Forky, you get the impression he hasn't seen. He kind of understands what that love between like an owner and a toy is now, but he's never seen it happen because he's created for that purpose.
Yeah.
So
And
when
loves trash.
So when maybe he doesn't understand what happens because he sees Gabby he's expecting her to get taken away by Harmony and then sees her thrown away, and he's like, oh, that sucks.
And it's really bleak as well because like she gets thrown in that like box
crate,
and she just stays there. She doesn't even bother. It's like she's completely given up at that point.
But then Forky and Woody escape in the backpack.
Yes.
In Bonnie's backpack.
Yeah.
That's why they...
Well, because Bonnie... Well, yeah, that's the bit that we were talking about before with Buzz back at the... goes back to the RV and is like, oh, don't worry, they'll realise that she hasn't got the backpack, then they'll go grab Woody and then and then it's like the mum's like, Bonnie, have you got everything? She's like, yep. It's like, uh-oh. That's when he starts pressing his button loads to get their attention, and then he's just eventually just like, your backpack's in the antique store. So they go back, and they get Woody and Forky.
Forky.
Or do they? Because then they get the backpack. No, don't Woody and Forky stay behind? For some reason, they have to drive the RV back again after the flat tire because they take over.
Woody runs away from the RV again and says, meet me at the carousel to
Buzz. Rescue Gabby, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, and he says to Forky, tell Buzz, meet me here.
Yes, so he gets out of the backpack, doesn't he? Yeah.
Yeah. And
no
then
toy left behind kind of thing.
Yeah, that's when we get the very much like the team up between all the characters and the one mission of getting everyone to be Bonnie's toy. Yeah. Which obviously doesn't happen, but
yeah, that.
Well, so that mission at the end, they're just trying to get back to the carousel in time, aren't they?
Yeah, and then the toys in the RV have like taken over Dad's driving.
Yeah, that was brilliant.
Yeah, that was good.
The dinosaur behind the steering wheel pretending to be the sat nav. It's like, turn right. He's like, what? Turn right? We just turned. I was like now, turn right now. And he's like, oh god.
Because it ends up like the police following him, and you're just like, ooh, is Dad gonna go to jail?
Yeah. The unicorn's really excited about it.
So they all meet up, but so the team in the carnival park is Bo, Woody,
the Fuzzy Bears.
I'm just gonna say Keanu Reeves because I keep Gabby. What's he called?
Duke Kaboom.
And he has to do this 40 foot?
40 foot, yeah.
40 foot jump.
And
he's like, they're like, you've got this. You're the best motorcyclist of all time.
I can do this. I can do it with my eyes closed. And they're like, no.
But then he does anyway.
He does, but the best bit is that he clips his head on the top.
He's aiming for this small this like round target, isn't he?
Yeah.
And he shoots this whole banner across so they can like zip wire over. And he's going like that. He's got his arms outstretched with his eyes closed, like
he's doing it perfectly.
And then he clears it and goes straight through the middle of the target, but smashes his head on the top of the head.
That was genius. I love it.
Just the sound of it as well. That was so
like
good.
A dunk.
I love that they took away that like cool dude sort of landing. You know, like, oh my god, he did it. It's like he does do it, but he also kind of screws it up at the same time.
Also, which would hurt a lot as well. Not as much as Woody getting stepped on in the first.
Oh yeah.
At the start of the film.
But then he just kind of blows his nose and his face pops back out.
So then they use that line to get across to the
canopy of the RV, right?
No, the top of the carousel.
The top of the carousel. That's it. Yeah, because that's when they're going along the top there, and Gabby looks down and spots this kid that is just like by the side crying.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, she must have like lost her parents or something.
Yeah.
And they come up with this idea to kind of like position Gabby down on the floor next to her, and then make the kid aware of her.
Yeah,
to like kind of comfort the kid.
Baseball or something, like a mini baseball over towards Gabby.
And so that goes swimmingly well.
Yeah.
And
wouldn't it have been savage if you know it's a lost kid and she's like, I can't find my parents. If when they reconcile, and with the parents and the doll, and the parents just got the
You
doll,
can't
and
have
just
the
like,
toy.
yeah, oh, this is disgusting, throw it away.
But I thought,
But
so she pulls the cord as well, doesn't she?
Yeah.
And she says like, "My name's Gabby Gabby, I'm your best friend," or something
Yeah,
like that. So
but this
that
is
kind
what
of
we were
tied
talking
up
about, like how it doesn't matter about the quality of the toy. Sometimes it's about that emotional connection, and
Yeah.
it's the same reason that Bonnie's like loves Forky. Is that this kid is now going to love Gabby Gabby
because she
was
makes
there
her feel safe.
when times were hard,
Yeah.
essentially.
And as soon as she picks Gabby Gabby up, one of the security guards at the fun fair comes across and is like, "Are you okay?"
No, she gives her the confidence to go up to the security guard.
No, well, she's just kind of wandering past, I thought.
No. So she gets Gabby Gabby and she goes up and she goes, "Can you help me?"
Oh yeah,
And then you see them, her
parents.
there as well.
I think
So that's
you see
the
Gabby
kind of
Gabby get the eye contact with like the rest of the group, and they're all really happy for her.
Yeah, so that's like the end of Gabby Gabby's arc, which is really like it's a really well done arc, going
Definitely.
from like really creepy antagonist to like someone that you really want to be like to have a happy ending.
Yeah.
and
But
that
none
does.
of the ventriloquist dolls got a happy ending.
They're creepy as hell.
They were really creepy, but I thought that was glossed over. It's like, oh, it's Gabby Gabby gets to be the happy one. They all just get to go back
Well,
to the
it
antique
doesn't
shop.
seem like the
They're a bit
the
mindless.
antiques shops that bad a place to live. Really, they've got
Yeah.
a nightclub and all, haven't they?
And they don't talk in the film, do they? None of the ventriloquist dolls really talk.
No.
Yeah. Which is funny in itself.
Yeah, they're great. And then
So that's when it gets to the part where like the awning comes out and
Yeah, the RV's driven back towards the carousel by the rest of the toys.
and it's like that's their mission done. They can jump in there, but Bo Peep doesn't want to go.
Yeah.
So this is where you get Woody's second.
She wants to go and travel the world, she says,
Yeah,
doesn't she? She
yeah,
wants to see more of the world.
Yeah.
which I think that's quite a nice. I feel like that maybe it's just being our age, but that comes up quite a lot in your sort of 20s. That some people like maybe have an attachment to a person or a job, and some people are like, actually, I just want to do this by myself and travel or whatever.
Yeah.
I thought that was quite what I could connect to that.
Yeah, definitely.
What she was saying, that actually, I don't need to be, I'm different to this, but that's okay to not want to do what everyone else is doing.
Yeah, and so you get basically like Buzz goes, she'll be okay, and you don't know who he's referring to. Is he referring to Bo Peep? She'll be okay.
Or Bonnie.
Out in the world by herself, or she'll be okay, Bonnie. Like she'll be okay without you. And we saw at the beginning, like she doesn't love Woody even close to what like the way Andy did or the way Bo Peep does. So of course, like, and then that's when Buzz says Bonnie will be okay, and it kind of pushes Woody to make that decision to, instead of like last time when he was given that choice, Bo Peep or his owner, he chose Andy, whereas this time he chooses Bo Peep.
Yeah.
And you get a really nice like ending bit where like they go to the top of the carousel.
They are romantically involved, right?
I mean, they're toys, so I mean,
I think they kiss in like one or two.
No, okay, because they didn't in this one, and I was
No.
wondering whether that was something to do with the age restriction on the film, or...
Yeah, definitely in the first one. I think at the end of the first one, she kissed him on the cheek or something.
oh yeah, and he goes like limp, doesn't
Yeah,
he? And
yeah.
like yeah.
I wasn't expecting that ending. I thought it was like they're all going to go back and it's fine, and she's got more toys. So that kind of like threw me a bit. I was like, oh, that's actually quite a nice way to end it.
Well, it kind of it wouldn't have made a huge amount of sense, would it? If that, I was quite surprised that the two cuddly toys, the ducky and
Yeah.
didn't go with Bonnie.
Well, they stay with Woody and Bo Peep, don't they?
Yeah.
There's that cutscene at the end that we almost missed.
Oh yeah, because we started walking out. Yeah, where they're helping other toys from
Find
the
homes.
carnival
Yeah, fine.
find homes.
Yeah.
So is the idea that they're going to travel around with this carnival now?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
You got obviously the really emotional like goodbyes between Woody and all the other toys as well.
Yeah, and
Yeah, that's
and
right
Buzz
at
is
the end.
like to infinity, and then it cuts to Woody, and he's like and beyond.
Yeah.
Cheesy as hell, but it was.
They had their hug got me a little bit weepy.
Yeah, yeah.
When
same.
he was like patting, like they had a hug, and then he kind of like patted the back of Buzz's like wings, and was like,
Yeah, no, it was a nice goodbye, but I don't think this is the last we see personally, I don't think this is the last we
Do
see.
you think we'll get Toy Story 5 Mission to Miami or something?
I thought
Tokyo Drift.
I thought the character development on Woody was one of the most interesting parts of the film.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He
it was
became-
definitely a lot more focused on Woody this
He
one.
Yeah.
became very selfless and very kind of altruistic.
Especially watching Toy Story 1 like 2 nights ago, where in that he's very selfish.
Yeah.
He's very... And
Yeah,
all
completely.
he wants
It's all
to be at
about
the
him.
top, and you know, like how he accidentally knocks Buzz out the window. He's meant to knock him to under the desk, but yeah, he's like quite self-obsessed and being like the favorite toy. It's actually a really nice arc.
Yeah, definitely.
for
Yeah,
Woody.
even because you get that part where he gets the sheep's names wrong.
Yeah,
and assumes they're boys, and then at the end he says he's going to leave Bo Peep and the sheep and go back to Bonnie initially, but then he says Billy Goat Gruff, and he's like,
Yeah.
I'll see you girls around, and it's like, okay,
Yeah.
like he's learnt his lesson.
Yeah. No, it was really nice. But what would they do? Like that's kind of the end of the film now. Like what would they do moving forward with it?
Well, actually,
Like,
no. The only other point I wanted to point out was when he left and chose Bo Peep, he gave his sheriff's badge to Jesse.
yeah, I forgot about that. That was a nice moment,
that was
actually.
really cool. Yeah, I think
I'm not crying. You are.
the way they've ended it, I think, to answer your question, is they can pretty much go anywhere from now. You know, they could make Jesse the focal point, or you could have like Bo Peep and Woody's adventures, probably be a Disney Ghost spin-off or something like that. You know, it's just that I think now it's completely wide open that any sequel they did.
I think they'll probably still focus on the whole ownership of a toy rather than this like nomad life.
Yeah, I think
Bo
so.
Peep
Oh,
and
see,
Woody
I
live in.
kind of disagree. I think they'll do like a if they do something in the future, it would be more focused on like these lost toys, and like maybe a society focused on those lost toys. Like, probably a corrupt society, I imagine. That's what I would imagine. But I don't know. They might have come out and said that that's it. I don't know. I haven't read any news about it or anything
I've not either.
I think they'll probably just leave it open, won't they?
for a few years.
Yeah.
And then probably
Consider
come
if they
back.
want to do anything with it. But I think the reason this one came about is because the writer said when he was writing Toy Story 3, he just happened to come up with the idea for this one as well.
Oh, really?
And that's why, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Woody's emotional arc's almost over now, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
But I think you would struggle to get people to go to watch Toy Story 5 with no Woody.
Yeah,
True.
he's one of the key components of it.
Also, I don't know what else you can do with Buzz, which is why I think they might bring other characters to the forefront if they did it, like Jesse.
Yeah. Would we see
think-
Buzz, do you reckon, if it was focused on Woody? Or would they, do you reckon they've
They could flip
split
between
those
the two.
characters up now?
No, they could flick between them, couldn't they?
I guess the
Like
only thing.
different storylines that came together.
Yeah,
Yeah, potentially. That wouldn't be a bad shout.
yeah. Would you guys want to see a Toy Story 5?
Well,
they-
I mean, after they've nailed this one,
True,
I didn't think that I wanted a Toy Story 4 because I thought they
Same.
wrapped it up perfectly in Toy Story 3, but they've come back and they've done better this time.
It's a really consistent franchise, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, every one is... Two's probably the worst.
Two's probably the worst one, I'd say, but I would put this as my second favorite, if not my favorite.
Yeah, I think I'd have it second favourite.
Yeah.
Obviously, number
3 is really good, isn't it?
The first one's my favourite.
Is it?
yeah, I would say probably between this one and the first one would be my favorite, and then 3, and then 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the order I
I'd
would
agree with
have.
that. Yeah.
It's difficult to be objective though, considering how much like the age you were when you saw each of
Yeah.
them. Because like the first one would be like when we were actually kids and we had
Yeah.
those toys and you could relate more and stuff. But then 2 would be like, well, we're going through I'm too cool for Pixar. I'm 13 years old
Yeah.
now. Like,
What's one of the best things about Toy Story is that you can leave it like however many years. Like, I can't remember when Toy Story 3 came out, 2012, 13?
something like that.
Yeah.
I imagine.
Which
yeah.
is like
sounds right.
5, 6, 7 years ago, whatever. But it's still fresh enough. It's not like, we mentioned Anchorman earlier.
Yeah.
10 years between 1 and 2, whatever. It's like no one really cares. But with this, it's like you were saying, it's that generational thing of. I think
Yeah.
for me, Toy Story 1 might have been one of the first films I saw in the cinema.
Oh, I never
after
saw it in the
19.
cinema. I had it on VHS.
Nice.
Yeah, I had it on video
I
as
think
well.
I've got it. Yeah.
Best animated movie at the Oscars next year?
What else?
Yeah, I mean the timing's not great for Oscar bait, is it? But it's.
I tell you what might get it is Frozen 2, that was the other trailer.
That looked terrible.
Yeah, that was the other trailer. That does look bad.
Yeah, but
it's going to make an insane amount of money.
Oh yeah.
I think Toy Story's been nominated for an Oscar before, hasn't it?
This could come in for Best Animated Picture consideration. I don't think it's one of those animated pictures that's good enough to be Best Picture consideration.
No. But it was before. It was Best Picture nominated, wasn't it? One of the previous
Toy Story 3?
No, I think...
One?
I can't remember. One of them's definitely been for Best Picture. It
did,
obviously didn't win it, but...
Has an animated...
Yeah, Toy Story 3 in 2010. Yeah. It lost to The King's Speech.
Oh, biopic.
Plug in episode 2 there. Yeah. Any more points? Any more talking points?
No, I think...
my head's splitting open, so...
Did we get any questions or emails or...
No.
Fine.
We've got a nice little Instagram account now that has short little clips of upcoming podcasts and pictures from behind the scenes.
So
BTS.
We're on Instagram. We're on Gmail.
Yep.
It's all at SyncSlate6, isn't it?
What's the Gmail? SyncSlate6@gmail.com.
Yeah. And we are on YouTube, Spotify, SoundCloud.
Thanks very much, guys.
Thank you for listening.
Yeah, thanks for having me.